Okay, so our last instructional video here, you'll have another set of questions after this. And we're in the last video here going to look at per questions. So per means, as we said already, for one of. In other words, if an object, the most common place we see this is actually speed, so 1.2 meters per second. Usually in cars you see miles per hour or kilometers per hour. But if it was travelling 1.2 meters per second, how far would it travel in 15 seconds is a good example of this, in which case you would just times the 15 by 1.2. Every single second it travels 1.2, so in 15 seconds it's going to travel 15 times as far. You usually see per represented as a forward slash, okay? So for example, meters per second would be meters slash second or m slash s. And there's two types of per questions. Sometimes you're given the per value and you need to work out the total, as an example above, or sometimes you have to work out what the per value is. And we'll show you both types. So the first example here is when you're given the per value. So for example, from the following graph, calculate the mass of beetle-resistant potatoes produced from a field which measured 20 hectares. Now, my advice for all of these questions is look to the units. The units here are kilogram per hectare. That means kilograms in 1 hectare. We're also, for this question, interested only in this second bar here, because it asks about the beetle resistant. It doesn't ask about the non-resistant varieties for this particular question. So step one is to find what is the per value, and in this case it's 425. Read that off the graph here. Okay, exactly halfway between 400 and 450, so 425 kilograms per hectare. Step two, you now want to find the number that they want you to calculate. So that's per 1 hectare. For 1 hectare, they want it for 20 hectares. So I'm simply going to times my per value, that's 425, by 20, which to give me my total value. So in 1 hectare, it produces 425, but in 20 hectares, it would produce 8,500 kilograms of potatoes produced in this example. Just please note that sometimes you'll have to multiply up twice because sometimes there's two per values. So for example, this question could have asked, this is for 1 year per hectare per year, for example, how many would it produce in 20 hectares in 5 years? In which case you just multiply it again, this time by 5 as well as the 20. Sometimes though you're asked to work out what the per value is. So for example, in this experiment, in this investigation, looking at the metabolic rate of a snail at rest, its oxygen uptake was measured using the apparatus below. The distance travelled by the liquid here gives you an indication of how much oxygen it's taken in. So basically it's gone from, work out your value, it's gone from 0 up to 0.3 on the scale here. We can see that's exactly halfway between 0.2 and 0.4. So that's an important number to use. And it says the coloured liquid moved from 0 centimetres to the distance shown by the arrow. So we've worked out already that's 0.3 centimetres cubed. It's gone up by, it's increased by. Calculate the rate of oxygen uptake by a snail which weighed 3 grams in 10 minutes. Okay. So the first thing is to calculate the change, which we've already done. We've already mentioned it's 0.3. Find the numbers they want you to calculate. Okay, so this snail weighed 3 grams and it was left for 10 minutes. And if it was left for that time, that's when it travelled 0.3. So in this case, because we're trying to find out per gram for 1 gram, per minute for 1 minute, what we're looking to do is divide down, unlike the last type of question where we multiplied up. So when you're given the per value, when you have to work out the per value, you divide down. If you're given the per value, like question 1, you multiply up. So we found the numbers they want to calculate. It's 3 grams and it's 10 minutes. And very simply, we're going to divide by both of those numbers. But I'll talk you through each one. The reason that we're dividing it, firstly, in this case, by 3 grams, by 3 is for the 3 grams, is because it has to be per gram, which means for 1 gram. And again, if you look at the units, that gives you a clue. Okay. And also it's per minute, so for 1 minute. So it travelled this distance in 10 minutes. If I want to find out how far it travelled in 1 minute, I have to then divide that distance, that number, by 10 as well. And that gives you the answer of 0.01 centimetres cubed per gram per minute. So hopefully that's helped you with the per questions, and good luck with the examples.